Hello and welcome. I am Atomic Bergamot Breath, and this is the channel's first build video. Today we're going to cover the Irian Noble, Nergal. I recently pulled this unit and I struggled to find any build videos for him, so I thought it would be nice to do a little bit of research and cover him for myself. I'm going to front load these build videos with skill tree and equipment information at the start for anybody just wanting to get in, see how to build the unit, and then leave. After that, I'm going to try to go into a little more detail about stats, his star information, and a couple of possible unit combinations from there on. Without further delay, let's jump right in. So as you can see, I'm level 37. I'm at rank 7, and I've got a little bit of the skill tree already picked. So I chose a lot of the Guardian options, and I'll go into detail about why I chose each thing. For rank 1, I really like the fast cover skill. This is an instant support skill that lets Nergal swap with a nearby ally and grants them a shield equal to half of his physical attack, as well as letting him tank attacks for any ally within one tile. It's great for situations where you want to teleport your DPS in front of a group of enemies, deal a ton of damage, and they get a free shield out of it. The other option is an offensive attack called Crippling Blow. I don't really like this. It's a single target attack. It does inflict a bit of damage and speed down for 2 turns, but I don't think it beats the utility of fast cover. Going into rank 3, I grabbed Mark Illumination, which inflicts the Hangedman's Mark debuff, attack down 2 and vulnerable 2 on every single enemy 5 tiles in front of him, which lasts for 2 entire turns. This skill is another instant, which means after inflicting this he can still take his movement, use his basic attack, or use fast cover to bring your DPS in with a brand new shield and freshly debuffed foes. The other is Charged Bayonet, which is a passive. It helps him deal a little bit more damage and get some lifesteal, but again, I don't think you want to build an offensive build with Nergal. He's really just not built for it. At RK5, the options are Critical Moment and Counterattack. Counterattack is good, but it only procs once per turn, so if he tanks an attack, he'll hit somebody, and that's the turn. However, Critical Moment is a passive reaction that once he goes into the dying status, he will dodge every single attack for 1 turn and recover half of his health. I think this is terrific going for the Guardian build. I think it really helps with a lot of his survivability and gives him an extra turn if he needs to get off a cooldown, use Mark Illumination, and then teleport out. At rank 7, you get another physical single melee attack that deals a little bit of extra damage, and he gains Offensive Stance. Offensive Stance is nice because it buffs his damage, however, it makes it so he'll take an increased 8% more damage. I think the better option is the Leader Aura that increases all Alacrity allies in battle by 10% attack, 20% defense, and critical boost by 15%. This is really helpful because it boosts his defense and then his physical attack even further. Once we get into rank 9, we have a couple of really interesting options. These are the basic attacks, and keeping that in mind, you can either go and be more offensive again, dealing a little bit more critical damage, 15%, or my personal favorite, which is Silencing Attack. This deals the same amount of flat 100% physical damage, however, it inflicts a debuff that makes it so whatever enemy you hit, if they are in the injured state, cannot use any attacks aside from their basic attack. And this lasts for 2 entire turns. I think this is incredible. I think he can go in, hit somebody, silence them, whether it's a mage or another warrior, and have a ton of utility. At rank 11, we finally get to the penultimate skills. The 2 skills are Absolute Domain and Close Quarter Release. Absolute Domain puts Nergal into the alert state, where he will attack up to 2 enemies that approach directly in front of him, to his left, to his right, or behind, and interrupt their entire turn. This can be really nice, but I'm not really a fan of how close the range is and how you have to build around that. However, the second skill, Close Quarter Release, is really nice. It's another single target attack with melee range. However, upon hitting a foe, Nergal will knock them back 4 tiles, which is really good for knocking people off of cliffs, and it'll deal a follow-up AoE blast equal to half of his physical attack in a 3x3 square in front of him, which inflicts speed down 1 for 1 turn. I think this is going to be the first offensive skill that I would really recommend for him. Going from there, we're going to look at the equipment that I've put on him. The first weapon is an epic weapon. I've leveled it up. I've gotten a lot of dupes for it. It's really helpful when he's getting attacked from the front or side. He gets a really big boost to his physical defense. This helps him build tankiness. This makes sure he has more survivability, and you can use his skill right afterwards. The next equipment that I chose is the Luxite Great Shield. I think this is really helpful and builds into his defensive kind of style because it'll let him grant a physical shield equal to 40% of his HP for 2 turns. You can only use it once per battle, but that extra shield is incredibly helpful. And finally, I chose the Silence of the Hermit Tarot because it'll decrease the damage that he takes, and I know if you have the EX skill, once you hit it to level 50, I think that unlocks at 60, it'll double from decreasing damage from 10% to 20%, and that is a huge buff. Now that is the basic build for anybody who wanted just to see how to build him, look at the basic skills, and leave from there. Anybody else who wanted to stay and look at the stats, we're going to go over those right now. I want to start by looking at his star ranks. So Nergal benefits a lot from having extra star ranks. At rank 1, he just has block, he gets shield charge, and after performing a block, he gets bayonet charge. It's a lot, so we're going to look into what it does. Shield charge increases the block chance to 100%. Performing block, he also reduces damage by an additional 10% of each stack. So this stacks at the end of every single turn. If he doesn't take damage for a while, he's just going to be blocking and taking nothing. Bayonet charge increases his attack by 10% and is doubled if you're fighting a target with Hangman's Mark. This is particularly helpful when you're using other units from area that can inflict Hangman's Mark, including himself using Mark Illumination. When you go into rank 2, he gets an additional stack every single turn for shield charge. So that's an additional 20% damage reduction every single turn. After performing block, he gets bayonet charge. Rank 3, he gets powerful shield charge. Now powerful shield charge reduces damage by 15% up to 2 stacks. So it's an additional 30% every single turn whenever he blocks. It's incredibly helpful. Going up again, his bayonet charge goes up to 2 stacks, which is really helpful whenever you want to do counterattacks, if that's how you want to build him again, or even on his basic attack once it starts to inflict statuses and stop people from making their own skills. The really helpful thing is once you get to rank 5, the first block of each turn reduces the cooldown of every skill he has by 1. Mark Illumination, we didn't go over this earlier, has a 5-turn cooldown, and this is incredibly helpful for getting around that and reducing it. Now looking at his base stats, if you take off all of his equipment and just get him to level 60, he has 3,239 HP, which is tied with Layla for 25th or 24th highest attack out of the 39 legendary units. His physical attack is 1453, which is the 12th highest. His physical defense is 640, which is the 5th highest. His magic attack, which isn't really going to benefit him, is 1017, the 20th highest. And his magic defense, which can be helpful, is 431 at the 23rd highest. His speed is about average at 232, being the 6th highest. And he has one of the lowest standard moves, which is 3. So that is Nergal. This was the first video for the channel. Thank you for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe if you'd like to watch more videos like this. If you have any thoughts or ideas about this video or requests for new videos, please comment them down below. I'm going to be streaming 3 days a week on Twitch. Currently, it's going to be Saturdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays and Fridays from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the channel information in the description below. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.